You are listening to The Bo's Nose, a podcast about education where wonderful students and teachers can share their stories. And I'm your host, Mr. Bose, and today I have some special guests in studio today to help us talk about Drowsy Chaperone. Thank you for joining me today, and please introduce yourselves to our listeners.
Hey, I'm Lily.
I'm Rasheen.
I'm Gabrielle.
I'm Tinley.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Matthew.
Wonderful. Thank you all for joining me. So let's start out by telling... Let's start out with the same three questions we always do. But I'm going to change it a little bit. So what is your favorite, instead of QI story or tradition, what is your favorite theater story or tradition?
I have mine. So my favorite is when we eat and we just all sit together and eat and we just talk and it's calm and chill. That's my favorite part.
My favorite theater moment actually happened at QI. Is when we were doing the show $1 Million Meatball. Someone threw an egg and it broke on the ground and it went everywhere, and it was really funny. That show, just $1 Million Meatball itself, was one of my favorite shows to ever be a part of because we can just cut free and have a lot of fun.
This is a really dumb one, but one thing I really like doing at theater is harmonizing and just warming up. It sounds really cool to me. I can't explain it. It was just the first thing, my first rehearsal there, really caught my attention, and everyone's voices blending together sounded really cool.
I think my favorite moment was during A Christmas Carol when, during one of the dance numbers, the bubble machine went off. It was supposed to make fake snow on stage.
It happened right in a moment where I was like, is this what we're doing now? It made sense in the show.
Quickly panicked.
Mine would probably be when we're blasting music backstage and we're all just being dumb, because it's just really fun.
Yeah, same thing here. It would be getting ready together before the show and just having fun.
Mr. Bose, what's your favorite theater moment?
Yeah, you did theater.
Yeah.
I did for many, many years. So my high school, I would say favorite tradition. My high school always had a tradition that before every show, we'd circle up and the seniors would get to do a senior thank you. And that was always cool, especially the last, the spring show, the last show your senior year. That was something that was always cool. I think my favorite story was one of the shows I was working at a community theater. We almost set the backdrop on fire. Because we had it tripped up against one of the work lights. So it was a 100-watt incandescent light bulb, and painted muslin, in case you want to know, does smolder when it gets hot enough.
Oh,
But you didn't light it on fire, correct?
No, it never ended up on fire.
Okay.
Just almost, it's fine.
To get to the fly loft where we could control the backdrops was about a 20-foot straight vertical ship ladder up the wall. And I think I climbed that ladder in 5 seconds flat to get to the loft to let the drop down so that it was no longer against the curtain. And then we ended up touching up the backdrop with makeup because that's all we had on hand to try to touch up this giant scorch mark on the drop.
Sounds like a true theater moment right there.
Yeah,
right.
Makeup always comes in handy.
Yeah, it was okay, we don't have paint on, we don't have paint to mix on hand. What do we have? Because it was it was supposed to be a building, so it was a weird beige. So it was a perfect foundation color. All right, so next question is, if you could time travel, when would you go and why?
Honestly, I think the 2000s.
I was gonna say
cool.
the same thing. Low key, I think early 2000s.
Yeah.
I feel
Y2K.
I would be such a flapper. So the 1960s, 50s, whenever that is. That seems so fun.
Yeah. War and stuff. That's great.
No, that was just the Cold War. It never actually happened.
Oh.
yeah.
Everybody was just hiding under their desks.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Fear of
Just
nuclear
really
war.
scared.
It's no big deal.
Cuban Missile Crisis, nothing big, Me, I would probably go back to ancient history, like maybe like Alexander the Great or like the Roman Empire, because I think it'd be kind of cool to see what the early Christianity people had to go through to like really keep their faith, because they were like a lot of like that religion was persecuted really a lot, and so I think it'd be really interesting to go back then and like see how they were able to keep their faith when like everybody was like hating on them and literally trying to kill them for it, and then them just being like, no, I'm gonna believe this. I think that would be really cool to kind of like watch and see unfold.
And to follow that, I'd probably go to like the Regency era because it's pretty.
What is that?
It's like, I don't know, it's pretty.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
I'd probably go to either the 1980s or the 1990s. I don't really know why. I just kind of feel like it was a fun time.
Alrighty. So let's dive into talking about the Drowsy Chaperone. So first, in case people don't want to listen to the rest of this podcast, let's give them the 30-second sales pitch of why they should come see the show and when they can come see the show.
Okay, so when this is going to air, you have 3 more chances to come see the show. You have May 10th, 11th, and 12th. The 10th and the 11th start at 7:30, and the May 12th show starts at 2:30. You can get tickets at $15 at Ralph's House of Flowers or $20 at the door. Now, this show, I speak from experience, this is a really fun and goofy show that you can just come and have a good laugh and just watch the whole thing unfold and see some singing and dancing and some actors that are really fully diving into their characters.
It's like a wedding on steroids with bunnies.
A musical within a comedy.
Anything that could go wrong on the day of your wedding.
What?
I think that sums it up pretty well. So let's dive in. Let's each of you go around and let's say how long you've been in theater and what role you play in the Drowsy Chaperone.
Okay, so I've been in theater since I was in 5th grade, but I like took a long break, but then I came back, so I'm even better now. In the Drowsy Chaperone, I'm ensemble, so I'm in the background. I make the show because I like am the pretty face you see everywhere. I'm in the show more than the principals are in the show, so I'm pretty cool.
I've been in theater since 10th grade, and my role in Drowsy Chaperone is I'm an ensemble as well. We're great.
I've been in theater for 2 years since I was in 10th grade, and my role in the Drowsy Chaperone is the Drowsy Chaperone.
So I've been in theater since about 8th grade, and my role is Kitty.
I've done drama at QI since 7th grade, but this is my first Pignato show, and I'm also in the ensemble.
I've been in theater for the past 6 years since 7th grade, and I played George, the best man.
Very good. So you all mentioned when we were giving the sales pitch that it's comedy and humor. So how do you all approach bringing out those comedic elements in your specific characters or general characters?
It's a lot about your face.
Yeah.
Your face is a lot about your character. If you have no smile and no like bright eyes, you look dumb on stage.
I think with that, and also making it look like you're having fun as well, I think that's very important when you're on stage.
I think a really big thing is going over the top, because we might find some of these lines like humorous and be like, oh, that's funny, and then we'll say it in a funny way. But you have to go from the stage to the audience and allow the audience to soak in those moments. So if you're going back and saying it at about like 50%, then they may think it's kind of dull. But if you go 100% or over the top, they're going to be like, wow, that really was funny. And just that narrative of taking in and soaking in from the stage is really important, and being able to project your voice and your actions so that the audience, the people in the way back can read it is really important.
Staying completely in the moment helps too. There's a lot of times where we have to make a lot of noises and be very energetic and just like laugh our way through some things and clap and applaud, and it really makes all the difference if you give that your all.
it's hard not to have fun on the stage. Like, it's a lot of work, but it's hard to, like, stand there and not have fun and have a smile on your face.
You have to try. You have to try to, like, look like you
Yeah.
don't want to be there. And at that point, just get off the stage.
Right. Don't be.
Well, who wouldn't have fun pretending to be a little bunny on stage?
Exactly.
Right.
Very good. So this being, from the musical perspective, a relatively more recent musical does kind of pay homage and parody to some of the classic Broadway shows. So how do you guys balance paying tribute while also bringing something brand new?
Sorry, I had to get that
It's a really good question.
Can you
Mr. Buzz.
rephrase that a little smarter, less smarter?
You're fine. If we don't like it, we can.
out. I had to cough so bad, I was holding it.
It's a really good question.
You're fine.
It was like, it's a good question, but it was like, got my wheels turning too fast.
Wait, what was the question?
So the question's asking about, like, the show does both make a parody of Broadway classics and pays homage to Broadway classics. So it's asking about how do you balance the paying tribute while also doing something new?
I think it has a lot to do with the man in the chair.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he carries this show for everybody, and he's the one that's like, hey, this is this, and this is who this is, and they played this in this show, and they played this in this show, and they make this show so great because they're so great.
To explain the man in the chair a little bit for the people that don't know, so the show is happening, but this man is basically narrating it because he's listening to a record of it and going through the motions, and he's paying dividends to that, like, older time. And so that's a really important aspect. And I think another thing is just older musicals really was just like go out there and impress the audience, because that was what you had to do if you wanted entertainment, was go to the theater, sit down and watch those things. So a lot of this is just being really happy and showing like good emotion to the audience. At least that's what I think.
Yeah, Matthew, I was going to add before we go back to it, because I don't want to lose the thought, the man in the chair, like, the show really is a show within a show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The first show, though, is just a guy sitting in a chair telling you story. Like,
Yeah.
that's the show. And then
Yeah.
within the show is, like, I don't know, what would it, it's like scrolling through TV channels almost. Like,
kind of.
It's like playing music and trying to watch TV at the same time. Like, you're watching TV, but this other thing is, like, in your ear, and, like, you're always being refreshed with something new.
That's a good analogy.
Watching a new movie with your friend is like narrating what's happening.
I also kind of think it kind of shows how the outside world is kind of like an escape from that a lot of the way, and I think the show does a really good job of showing us that.
Going back to the homage question, that one, I would say that a good way to find that balance between poking fun at it and performing it would be to take inspiration from those older characters, the people who, like, they are kind of making fun of in a way, but then building it up within yourself to find that new character and that balance in between.
Good answer. Good answer.
Thank you.
I think those are all great. So let's go. So Gabby, this one's kind of for you. I know you've kind of already done your interview that was in the paper today, but what is it kind of like to be the lead for the show, or the one of the main antagonists?
Pro.
Pro.
It's a
Antagonists
pro.
are not evil.
One of the
yeah. Sorry.
antagonists.
It's a pro. It's an antagonist.
You're the antagonist in the show.
It's definitely a big thing because, like, in the past few plays, I've been up there quite a bit, but it's definitely a big task trying to stay in character the whole time and really trying to, like, keep the audience's attention and portray at least my character accurately, because I want to do my best and show the audience what I can do and try my best to make the show good for them.
Gabby's being humble. She's really talented.
She's so good.
She's amazing.
There's a scene I'm gonna spoil. There's a scene where
No.
I'm not spoiling. There's a scene where she sings a solo and it's amazing. And we are backstage and like the audience is supposed to clap for her, but we all want to clap. Like, and Mr. P yells at us all the time, "Don't clap, don't clap." But we want to clap because it's actually so good.
Very good. Well, that actually is the perfect tie-in to the other question I wanted to ask. Is several of you are in the ensemble cast, which is important to any show. Okay, not all, because there are some that don't have an ensemble, but those are the ones that only have like a cast of 6. So those don't count. But so for, your traditional Broadway shows, the ensemble is very important. So how are you as a group of actors and actresses, how do you support each other on and off stage, and what is the chemistry amongst you all that helps make the show happen?
I think we're all really good pals.
Yeah. I think asking like for help and things like that, like throughout like the whole time period while like rehearsal and practice, like we just kind of grow a bond with each other, and over time it kind of just grows, and we see that more on stage when we're dancing together, interacting with each other. Small things like that.
Yeah, everyone is definitely very close, and I think it shows on stage because we're all like very close to each other. We're like messing around with each other, like staying in character, but we're like reacting to the things that are around us, and no one's ever afraid to like ask for help. Like me personally, my first show here, so I've never had to like learn choreography. That was a huge struggle for me. So I had a bunch of people helping me learn some of the dances and some of the moves that were like harder for me to get, and I never felt like I was going to be like ostracized for that because everyone is very supportive.
This is a very like lean on other people's show. Like you can't do it by yourself. You have to have help. Like vocally, you'll need help. You'll like want to hit a note, and someone will have to help you. And you're messed up on your bringing your set in, so someone else has to like, hey, you got to bring your set in here. It's like we all rely on each other in a good way.
Community.
It's a community. We're like one big family.
Yeah,
now.
we really are one big family. Obviously, you'll have a little kooky aunts and uncles in there, and you always have those cousins you're a little closer to. But overall, we're really just one big family.
And shout out to the parents because the parents save us also.
Those parents, they're amazing.
I also think that with the
big shout out to stage moms and dads
absolutely.
out there.
I also think that there's a big notion of we're not afraid. We're not like too over like happy with each other. Like not. I gotta explain this real quick. Like for example, like we don't just praise everybody for everything they do. There's this fine line, because if you just overpraise everybody, some people will, like there'll be egos, and then some things won't be that good, and you'll be like, you're doing so good, but you're not. So there's this like good line I think we're at where we can be like, I wasn't like the best. Let's work together instead of just being like, you suck. We don't do that. But we're not complimenting things. We're complimenting things for the things that need to be complimented, which is a lot of the show. The show is really good. But we're really good at being like, we need to work on this. We did really good at this. Let's work together.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's important outside of theater as well.
Absolutely.
Like, when people stop telling you like what you're doing wrong, that's a bad place to be.
Right.
When the people in your circle stop telling you, when when they give up on you. So I kind of want to tease out a little bit with the live theater aspect, because in today's society, everyone's so used to, that picture didn't turn out, let me take another one. Oh, that video didn't turn out, let's do it again. Let me hit that auto update. Let me update my pictures. What is it like to have to work so hard and so perfecting at something because you do only get one chance?
It gives me a purpose. Like I know I need to work on, and that's the thing I love about live theater is no two shows are the same. And that because if I would just go through the show, I'm like, everything's gonna be all right, and I'm just walking through it, and I would mess up more. But with the live theater, I'm like, I need to think of this, I need to think of this, I need to think of this, and then I'm like, I need to be ready for whatever happens. Like if a set piece falls apart, if something falls on stage, what do I need to do? And always looking out for these things, in my opinion, makes the show more fun, because I'm not just like singing the song like on like putting autopilot on. I'm mentally thinking and focused the entire time, and I think that's one of the best aspects of live theater.
One thing I like about it is that all of us know when something's gone wrong and the audience has no idea. Like that someone just split their pants backstage or a prop just broke on somebody else. It's just hilarious. And it keeps the show so fresh and fun, and I just love that.
We had a poor kid fall on the stage and hurt himself, and the audience was like, that was pretty cool. He fell, and then I lifted him up. They were like, was that part of the show? And we're like, no, it was not. But they were like, it looked really good.
Definitely keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
There's been so many times just this week where there's been props flying around and things not getting in on time, and everyone's just kind of like running around trying to fix it, make everything look good.
It's super fun, and it's like almost stressful. Like
Yeah.
it's like a
It's
good
stress.
balance of
It's
both.
good
Yeah.
stress. It's good
Yeah.
stress.
Yeah.
It's like when you know you have to be on stage, but your scene partner is nowhere to be found, and you're like freaking out. You're like, if you don't get
Well, it's
over
like,
here.
and then not only that, there's so many aspects, like the music coming in. For example, like yesterday, I said my line that was supposed to be the musical cue, but they played the music over top of that, and I'm like, okay, they'll play the music again. Well, nobody did, so I just yelled the line again out to my scene partner who was off stage, and he was like, okay. And then they played the music, and it's like, you got to find those little things to do to like make the show go on.
Yeah, I remember. So, Guys and Dolls. So if you know that show,
It's a good show.
so at the end where Nicely is in the mission singing his
Sit down, you're rocking the boat.
his solo of the show. So I was Nicely.
Hey.
And you know, this was like show 2 or 3 of the run, so all through tech, all through everything, and like the director was always impressed because like I was the same every night, like always the same spot. You know, it was just that's how my brain worked. Like
Consistency.
That's how I you know made sure everything went smooth. As like I'm just gonna do the same thing every time. That night I managed to sing the second verse of the song first.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Didn't know it until I got done with the chorus, and I'm like, oh no, what do I do now?
And your mind's blank, so you can't. Yeah.
And I'm like locking eyes with the conductor, and it was the band director, and she's looking at me, and like it's just she's looking at me going, all right, what are you gonna do? Like
They have to bounce
she's like,
off of you.
her hands on the like, are we going back to verse 1? What? So I just sang the second verse twice, and nobody, like the director, didn't even recognize until the
You were,
end of the
you
show.
were
was
driving
like,
your
I'm
point
so
home.
sorry.
You were driving your
He was
point
like,
home with that verse.
She's like, oh, I didn't even know.
Making sure they heard it.
it was important.
Alrighty. So, last question about Drowsy Chaperone before we kind of wrap up here. What do you want the audience to walk away from the show feeling or knowing or...
I love this question. Okay. This is marketed as a comedy. It is a comedy. But the more, because I've watched it so many times on YouTube, like especially when auditions came out, the more you watch it, like, and you focus specifically on the man in the chair and his dialogue and his backstory, it's a comedy, but there are some really deep themes hidden in here. And I want to make sure that the audience comes away understanding those themes and kind of feeling like, okay, that was really funny, but why do I feel sad?
This is one of those shows you have to watch twice. Like, you watch it the first time, and
yes.
you see the cool things, and then you have to watch it a second time so you get the, like, deep meaning behind it.
Someone's trying to sell tickets. Come see it again, guys.
Come see it again. See it twice. 3 times, maybe.
One thing that
Six
I
shows.
just love that I want everyone to take away from is, like, we're going away from, like, live things, as you mentioned earlier, is I want people to take away that live theater is pretty cool. Like, I mean, I'm biased. I love theater myself. But, like, the aspect of live theater and going there and watching these people perform each time and not just the recording of it, that you just watch it over and over again. I want people to be like, you know, that live theater thing is pretty cool. Maybe I'll get involved, or maybe I'll get more into, like, watching them. And so I hope people take away that theater kids are not weird. We are pretty cool.
Mostly.
And that we should watch more musicals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this show is almost like a feel-good show in a way, just because I think some people honestly can relate to the man in the chair because he is a real person and his love of musical theater, I think, is something that a lot of people can relate to, and that the fact that it is like a safe space for him, and it's something that he says it gets him through things. And I think that I hope people will come away from watching the show happy and feeling almost comforted by the fact that it just kind of gives you a bit of a positive feeling.
Well said, Gabby. Well said.
I think that's perfect. So, on the vein of everybody should be into more theater, last thing for each of you to answer is, what is your favorite musical? So, like, this is your recommendation to the listeners of, like, hey, go out, listen to this, go out, check out this show.
All right, Taylor.
Get out with it, Lily.
Guys, I don't like musicals.
Oh,
Okay, so I'm actually gonna steal
You're
Taylor's
canceled.
because
Jump in there, Taylor. Jump in there, Taylor.
No, she's gonna say Ride the Cyclone. I have loved Ride the Cyclone before it became this huge internet, like, it's all popular over TikTok. If you don't think you know Ride the Cyclone, you do. I promise. Go back and listen to a bunch of
10 times in his
a bunch of
that
viral
part.
TikTok sounds from like 2020, 2021. Like, you know, Ride the Cyclone. Great musical. There's only like 7 people on stage at the whole time. The character building, amazing story. It's an amazing musical.
I changed my mind. I actually know what mine is. Mine's Frozen. I love Frozen more than anything in the whole wide world.
I think mine probably Falsettos. I think it's a really great musical. It's like they sing the whole time. They don't ever stop singing. Actually, it's pretty great musical, I think, in my opinion.
So here's the question then: is that a musical or an opera?
Oh,
Ooh.
I don't know.
Your recommendation can stand. It's just
If not that, then I'll probably say Legally Blonde, the musical. Then that's a great musical. It's good. All bops.
Obviously, I personally love things with like princesses or like magic, like fantasy type stuff. Some of my favorites that it would either have to be Phantom of the Opera or Anastasia, because I love those two, only because they both kind of have like a fantasy sense to them. And I know Phantom of the Opera is a classic, and it's amazing. The music is wonderful.
Phantom is definitely a solid.
Okay, so mine would probably have to be, it's a tie. I cannot pick one. So it'd probably be either She Loves Me, which I feel like people would like that one a lot, or it would have to be Carousel, because I genuinely just love the music in it. And
That's
it's really
a
pretty.
Classic
It is so good.
Broadway feel-good show.
Yes, it is so good.
All right, bring us home, Matthew.
Bring us home. So my favorite is Newsies. Because as a guy and as a dancer, that's just such a strong guy dancing show, and like I watch that every time, and I'm just like, wow, that's like it was amazing, and the actual like message behind the show is also really important to me, and just the songs are also like amazing, and I have nostalgia because we did that show. So was it the bell? I guess it's time for us to end. But yeah, it would be Newsies.
Very good. All solid.
Wait. What's yours, Mr. Bose?
Yeah.
Come on now. Come on now.
Mine ebbs and flows throughout the years, but right now I'd have to say 6.
I just saw it on Broadway. I love 6.
6 is amazing.
It is
Great
pretty
music.
good.
Alrighty. So, last thing.
That was the
This is
last
the
That was the last question.
This
for
is the third
everybody.
last thing.
I know. I can't let you all go. This one's actually specifically for Matthew and Gabby.
Oh no.
Oh.
What are we gonna do as seniors? What are we gonna do?
You got it. As seniors, what's next for you all?
All right. Hopefully, FSU. I'm still not committed yet because I'm waiting for my financial aid packet to come out. It's supposed to come back next week, and so hopefully by the time this comes out, it will be out, and I will be committed. But hopefully FSU to pursue a communications degree so I can be a broadcaster or a radio host. That's the goal. Tie in like my theater skills and then my love for like sports and other things. And then, hopefully to do some theater on the side. I would love to continue the hobby that I've loved to do.
Very good. And just to be clear, you want to commit to FSU,
Yes.
not be committed.
Commit to FSU.
Oh.
Yes.
I'm committed to Stetson University.
Woot woot.
And I definitely want to do like something on the side with theater, but my major is health sciences for pre-med track. Obviously, I'm gonna find some way to do music throughout that. I know it'll be pretty busy because I know it's a pretty rough road, but I'll definitely try to find something to incorporate it in because I love music and I love musical theater.
And she's really, really good at singing.
So good.
She's really, really good at singing.
She will never admit it, but she is amazing.
She's very humble.
She blew us away at the first rehearsal. We were all speechless.
Blew us all away.
Oh.
I thought the same thing, so...
Anyway, that wraps up another episode of The Bo's Nose. Thank you to the cast of Drowsy Chaperone for taking the time out of their lunch to sit down and talk with me. Listeners, you've got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday yet to catch this show, so make sure you check that out if we have sold you on the Drowsy Chaperone.
Listeners, if you like the podcast, subscribe on your favorite podcast player of choice so you don't miss out on future episodes, and please share with your friends. Until next time, excellence in all endeavors.